Here we are. It's just Simon and me today, you guys.
Colin's a coward.
Colin, he didn't feel like he had anything to contribute, which I mean, I disagree. Maybe he'll hop on here and just give commentary. I invited him to join and give commentary if he wanted. And D has been quite busy with the Atlanta Film Festival. He got a press pass,
Ooh.
so he's been watching films there at the festival and putting up reviews and stuff. So he's been really busy with that. So that's exciting. I'm very happy for him. And yeah, so it's just Simon and me today. Arturo's working, and Colin's a coward, like Simon said.
Mm-hmm.
And D
The
is just.
assassination of this stream by the coward Colin Pass.
Hey, Carl, how are you doing? The topic for today is movies we hate. It started off, it was initially
Mhm.
going to be just 3 movies, but now that it's just Simon and me, it can be 6 and up. And I have some honorable mentions. So,
Yeah, I've got three because it was kind of
okay.
last notice. So, but there's others I can put in there sort of controversial that I wasn't going to count.
You can
You
mention
know?
however many you want, honestly,
No.
since it's just us and
Yeah.
however many. Doing okay, Carl. Doing all right. Kind of just busy and, you know, life kind of wears you out sometimes. But I'm always here to talk about movies. So thank you for asking. I will let you go first, Simon. You remember how to present?
Oh shit.
Look, you didn't get
Why
your
don't you go
pictures
first?
prepped? Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
put the pressure on me. All right. Okay. I'm trying to keep an eye on the Rumble chat just in case anybody comments there. Sometimes there are several people that watch there, but they never comment. So, okay, so hold on a second. All right. I'll pull up my honorable mentions first. I got to make it big here.
Okay, you do your honorable mentions, then I'll go first.
Okay. All right. I'm going to maximize.
And
All right. All right. So I'm going to present my honorable mentions. Now, honestly, I call them honorable mentions. I wasn't even going to bring them up at all until I found out that Colin wasn't going to be joining us. And of course, D. So then I decided, well, heck, I was going to throw everything that came to me when I was making this list. So in this honorable mention thing, I've just got all 4 of them all at once, the pictures of all of them. So let me share my screen and figure out how to do that. My window, I think. Okay, now it's not showing up. Why is that? Oh, okay, it's got the wrong thing. Shoot. That's not what I wanted to share. Sorry. Sorry, you guys. I'm getting off to a real crappy start. But I have the screen up and it's not showing it. It's showing what I used to have up, which I don't want to share. So that's kind of aggravating. Hold on a second. Bear with me. I'm going to just close out my Rumble.
professional streamer here, folks.
I know, it's terrible. Okay, there, now it's up. Now I see it. Okay. I think it had something to do with the fact that I had my Rumble chat, even though it was in the background for some reason. Anyway, hi, hi George. Yes, I should be fired. I am not a professional streamer, and okay. Now it went away.
You can
So
say that again.
I'm definitely not. I will never claim to be. Okay, here's my honorable mentions. All right, now maybe it'll let me make it bigger. Oh, that's what it was. It wouldn't, I had it maximized, and it wouldn't let me share it when it was maximized, which was weird. Okay, so this should be a surprise to no one. Titanic, Avatar, Mad Max Fury Road, and Dumb and Dumber. Hey, Wilkies, how you doing? The topic for this stream, if you didn't notice by the title, is movies we hate that most everyone else seems to love. All of these movies, I think they have really high reviews, critics, and audience. Now, I didn't double check on Dumb and Dumber, but I thought it had pretty high reviews, and I know a lot of people love this movie. I am so sick to death of this film. This is dumb comedy. I hate dumb comedy. It is too stupid for me to enjoy. It very, very rarely works for me. If it ever works for me, I am the first to tell you this is not my thing, but for whatever reason, I liked it. Nope. I have never liked Dumb and Dumber. I've always hated this film. My husband used to watch it on loop. I swear to God. I have grown so sick of it. I despise this movie. Mad Max Fury Road. Well, Charlize Theron is part of the reason I'm not crazy about it, but the main reason is I just don't like the over the top weirdness of it. I remember I was watching this with a friend, and there was this chase because the whole movie was a big chase. And these people were attached to these poles that were swinging around, and they're playing these electric guitars in the middle of this stupid chase. And we looked at each other and we were like, what the heck are we watching? It was so over the top and ridiculous. I hated it. I've never liked that movie. Avatar, I remember I felt a little bit more agreeable about it the very first time I saw it, but I felt like it was overrated. I have since grown to despise this movie because of how overrated it is. And the special effects, the novelty of the 3D wore off within the first few minutes. I didn't care. I don't care about Pandora. I've always called this Dances with Smurfs ever since I saw it. So, yeah, no. Titanic. I love the depiction of the ship sinking, when it hits the iceberg. But other than that, I really hate this movie because the story. A lot of these movies, I'll say right up front before I continue on with my other picks, they might be well made and they might be well acted. But sometimes it's just the story itself. I hate it so much it makes me hate the entire movie. And I hated the backdrop story of the Titanic. Hated it. It was so cheesy. It was so cringe. Like, it's so cringe, it makes my skin get goosebumps. Like that chill you get when something's so bad, like your skin is cringing. Yeah, that's how the love story of Titanic makes me feel. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
R.I.P. Bernard Hill.
What's that?
R.I.P. Bernard Hill, the captain of the Titanic.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did see that he passed away recently, and he was also in
He was King Theoden.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that Carl agrees with me about multiple picks here. So those are my honorable mentions.
I was surprised by Fury Road. I could see you disliking it, but didn't see you hitting it. But you made a good.
It was just part of the reason that the same thing like what happened with Avatar. Well, I disliked Mad Max from like Fury Road from the moment it was done. I'm just like, I hate this movie. It's so stupid. But my intense dislike for a film will grow the more people like it. That's just like the contrary nature in me. But, whatever. And you guys, none of this, of course, obviously is to knock on anybody else who enjoys this because this is all subjective. But, yeah, those are my dishonorable mentions.
Yeah.
And there we go. Okay, Simon, you got yourself ready now?
I'm wondering how hard to go on the first one. Or should I save it?
Go whatever you want to do.
All right. Speaking of subjective picks.
Okay.
Let's go with...
Okay, here we go. Add to stage.
The Godfather.
Okay, well, we have a duplicate going on here. We have a duplicate.
We do? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we never touched base on this. I didn't figure we'd have crossovers, but okay, go ahead. You'll probably be able to make your case much better than me.
Yeah, there was a Eddie Izzard sketch where we were saying the difference between American and British movies. And American movies were full of action, and British movies were low budget, and all kind of people going into rooms going, oh, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what The Godfather is. It's just so fucking boring. And people I don't know, like pick up on the subtleties. Maybe it's a sort of male thing where like, oh yeah, I could make the hard decisions for my family. Like, because like killing my brother and shit. But it's just, it sucks. Maybe it's from growing up in the Troubles where I've like seen all this shit before. That I just kind of don't find it very revelatory or anything, but yeah, I hate The Godfather. It sucks so bad. It's so boring.
Okay, I'm in agreement with you. I feel like it's highly overrated, and I don't. So one of the main reasons why I don't like it, and I was going to ask you this question: do you just not like mob movies in general, or is it this?
Oh, I love mob movies.
You love mob movies,
but it's just I hate this. Like Goodfellas, there's like a frenetic sort of pace to that. that just draws you in.
Mm.
But
I
this
haven't
is
seen
just, it's
Goodfellas
so
in
slow.
forever.
I love Goodfellas. I think it
So
was my first mob movie that I loved.
Goodfellas. Gosh, I am not the biggest fan of mob movies, and that's probably the primary reason why I don't like The Godfather.
Mhm.
I cannot connect with and identify with these people and these lives that they live. And
Mhm.
I don't like it. It's this, I don't know. They have this weird code, right? Like the
Yeah,
mob or
Merda.
whatever. But I can't get into I just it's very rare. There have been some organized crime movies that I've seen, like let's say The Gentleman. That's kind of like he's a drug dealer, so it's organized type whatever, not
Mhm.
exactly the mob, but you know what I mean. And that one strangely worked for me
Yeah.
because there was something about the way those characters were written that it did make them I could sort of identify with them like as a person and I could get them to a certain degree, but mafia movies it just doesn't work for me and
I haven't seen The Gentleman, but
might
just an
depend on if
idea.
you like Guy Ritchie.
Might it be you like crime that's kind of entrepreneurial, whereas this kind of crime is like almost class based?
No, I never really thought about it that way, but I want to say I don't think so.
Okay.
I just am not the biggest fan in general of movies that revolve around crime families, it could be drug dealers, it could be the mafia,
Mhm.
what the heck ever. I'm just not they don't work so well for me.
Yeah.
Um I can't
Another
say
thing I
all of
hated, I
them.
think for the same reason, was Breaking Bad.
I never was interested to watch Breaking Bad because I knew the story.
Hmm.
And I knew the guy, I knew the whole reason he got into it was to pay for da 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 da. But to me, I was like, my mind just kind of shuts off immediately.
Hmm.
I just am like, yeah, but still.
Yeah.
And then of
Again, I
course,
find it
his,
so boring because I've known so many people like that who kind of, even friends I had who got sort of involved with paramilitary organizations. So I'm
oh,
going from being sort of normal people to
to
being
be
into
in
crime. Yeah. Just,
hardcore.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, well, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
So, okay, that's a good pick. I'm in full agreement with this
All
pick.
right. Shall I stop
Um,
sharing?
Carl says The Godfather's well acted, but otherwise it's just okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
it might be well acted. It's been decades since I've seen it. I have zero desire to watch it again. I've seen all three of them. I know my dad really loved The Godfather. Um, Also, maybe another part of it is I feel like Marlon Brando is just a bit overrated. I'm not super crazy about him as an actor. So, but
Oh,
that's just a very minor part of it. Hey, Big Al, how are you doing? And hey, Josh, how are you? You're on the same time that Simon's on. Like the Godfather. Really, that's interesting because a lot of people really love Godfather 2. I know there's a lot of hate for Godfather 3. Um, I can't really distinguish between the three of them because I just dislike all of them. So, there you go.
from what I hear,
Uh,
his daughter destroyed the movie. Sofia Coppola.
Coppola, Sophia. Yeah, that's what I heard. I remember watching it, and I remember at the time that I watched it, I remember being aware already that there was dislike for it because of her.
Hmm.
Um, I, I don't know. I don't remember having any sort of specific sentiment against the film because of her. It was just more the subject matter that I didn't like. Maybe if I rewatched it, I would see what people were talking about, but I have zero desire to rewatch it, so I'm not going to.
It was
I guess
meant to be, oh God, what's her name?
I forgot. I know what you're
Winona
talking about.
Ryder, but she
Oh
filled out
yeah.
for, I think, Dracula.
Oh, so The Godfather 3 was in the 90s. Wow.
Hmm.
For some reason I thought it was in the 80s. But okay, so early 90s. Sorry guys, I just poured my coffee. Okay.
So,
Okay.
in researching this, I'm
Mhm.
going to share my screen again.
Okay.
Uh,
That's
Screen.
pretty bad then.
Where is it? There. So this is apropos of nothing, but I just kind of went down an IMDb rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
and I found The Kid. You've seen The Kid?
Who? That sounds familiar to me, but I don't remember if I have.
It's
If I
Charlie
have, it's
Chaplin and this
long.
kid
Oh
where
no,
he's like a tramping.
yeah, I don't. I
It's a
don't.
classic movie.
Okay.
But this kid here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen him in anything else?
Well, I have a feeling you're setting me up for the fact that I have. I just don't know it. Is that
No,
Marlon
this
Brando?
it is not. This
Okay.
is Uncle Fester.
Oh, oh! I never would have guessed. Oh
I
my.
know.
Okay, well, obviously I have seen him
Hmm.
before. Oh, he's
Like
such a
holy
tiny
shit.
little cute thing.
Also, there was another actress. I couldn't find her here, but she started working on Charlie Chaplin movies when she was 12, and then came back when she was 15, and then got pregnant by him at 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew he had gotten into some trouble-ish,
Hmm.
but I didn't know if it was connected with that or something else. I never
Yeah.
watched the movie that RDJ was in. Didn't he play Chaplin?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I never watched that movie. I've never really been interested in Charlie Chaplin as a person or an actor. So I've just never really consumed his stuff. Anything I think I've seen of his has just been in clips.
I've seen a couple of his movies, but I'm never a massive fan. Just kind of if it was on,
Did
I'd
you
watch
ever?
it just to see what the fuss was about, you know?
Right. I mean, for what I understand, he was really good with physical comedy.
He is, yeah.
Some of the clips I've seen, okay, well, but I just have never. I think part of it all is also because were all his movies silent
And
or
not
just
all of them.
some
He
of?
was
Okay,
he was on the crossover. Like
okay,
there's a famous speech at the end of The Great Dictator.
okay. Well, I've never been super interested in silent films. I've never been interested in. I know a lot of his films have been comedy based, so that's kind of like already something I just mentally write it off. And I'm not super crazy about older films in general.
Yeah. That's his granddaughter, by the way.
The granddaughter of this child he had with the child.
No, it's just in case you were wondering anything, it's
Oh,
just his
okay.
granddaughter.
Come on, Levi.
No, I can't remember her name.
Was this a lady that ended up being like his wife or anything?
No. Yeah, they got married,
Oh,
but
okay.
briefly.
Oh, it didn't last. Did you ever watch the RDJ film?
When it was released, which was like in the 80s, early 90s.
Was it the 80s? Yeah, I know it's been a while.
So look. Oh, I better look up Chaplin.
Oh, it has her in there.
When was this released? 92.
Okay.
Recognize this thing when I see it.
Well, I know his granddaughter or his great
Lita
granddaughter was.
Gray. That's it.
What's her name?
Lita Gray.
Lita Gray. Is that the mother of the, or the grandmother of the woman who played in Game of Thrones?
Which one's that?
One of Charlie Chaplin's relatives was in Game of Thrones.
Oh, Una something.
She was
Yeah.
the one who got killed at the Red Wedding.
Mm-hmm. Una Chaplin. Yeah, Lita Gray began working with Charlie Chaplin's Hollywood studio when she was 12. Doing bit parts in a couple of movies. 3 years later, 15, she then again became pregnant by him by the time she was 16.
Oof. How old was he?
She was 16, he was 35.
Ugh.
Yep. So yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. So Simon, was The Godfather an honorable mention?
No, it was like one of them. It was my top pick.
Okay.
I hate The Godfather, and I don't understand why everyone loves it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but maybe for different reasons.
Yeah.
All right.
What are your
So,
reasons?
well, for the reasons that I already mentioned, I don't like
Yeah.
mob movies. I feel like it's overrated. I just can't with most mob movies. It's why I've never returned to. I saw Casino. I think I saw Goodfellas. I've kind of just wiped them from my memory because I just don't. But I've heard Goodfellas is super good.
It is.
Yeah, I know a lot of people really like it. Okay, so the rest of my list, and then I have, okay, so the rest of my list is six. I have six, not counting this. And it's really in no particular order. I'll probably just skip over The Godfather when I get to it. But here's my next one. I hope Paulie from Latino Slant is not watching this. He might want to disown me from being his friend. I can't stand this movie. It's also known as Blood In, Blood Out. My husband loves this movie. I remember when his brother and his brother's wife used to live here. They brought it over. This was the early 90s, and oh gosh. No, you didn't. Polly, I was just That's so funny, the timing. Polly, you hardly ever watch my stuff. And then you show up, it's like you had this radar. You knew I was going to say how much I don't like this film. Oh my gosh. Have I? In fact, I almost made a comment. I think you posted about this on Twitter. And I almost made a comment about how much. I almost made a comment about how much I didn't like it, but I remember you telling my brother about how I'm always coming on your your stream, making comments like, I don't like this and I don't like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm going to go on. All right, Polly, this is funny. The timing. Oh my gosh. This was not scripted, you guys. I had no idea he was going to show up. All right. So I remember I watched this movie with my husband, my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law's wife. And one of the main reasons that I don't like it is I'm not, just like I don't like mob movies and crime type movies, I also don't like jail movies, prison movies. And this is a huge portion of this is a prison movie. So I don't care for Shawshank Redemption, even though a lot of people love it. Thank you, Darth. I don't have, Paul is not my friend anymore. I'm sure he's not going to want to associate with me anymore, so I need all the support I can get. But also, the dude who played the main character, oh my gosh, Damian Chapa. I felt like his acting in here was so bad, and I did not like his character, like, at all. I could not stand his character, and he goes through this character arc where he starts off one way and he ends up, you see like basically the stories, you see the evolution of his character from this little punk who's always in trouble. He gets kind of taken up a bit with gang stuff, and then he ends up in jail, and then you see his rise to the top in jail, and he's just basically a snake of a human being. He's just not a good person, and also I don't think his acting was very good, and I just didn't like the overall story because there were very few people in here that I could really sympathize with, like maybe Benjamin Bratt's character. He was okay. The one character to the right of Damian Chapa, I grew to like him a little bit more, but just in general, the whole story, it's really long. I don't like jailhouse stories, and I didn't think the main character's acting was very, very good at all. Also, the beard they put on Benjamin Bratt was terrible. It was so fake and awful when he was like an undercover cop or something. Anyway, whatever. So the main reason probably is jail stuff and also gang stuff. Jail stuff and gang stuff. So yeah.
Jail stuff sounds like such a euphemism.
What, jail stuff? Yeah, I don't like prison. I don't like prison movies. And I don't know, it just didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. And my husband, he likes it. because it deals a lot with Latinos and all of that, but also the characters. I felt like the characters, the way they acted their parts, felt like so over the top and almost caricaturish. The way they would talk, oh, La Raza forever. I don't know. That just was not. It just didn't. It just like
Los
no.
locos kick your ass.
Yeah, los vatos. What it was it? The vatos locos. I have enjoyed watching um panels about this movie and the actors and the people involved in the story. I've enjoyed watching those more than I enjoyed this actual film. And I know it's quite highly rated, but it's not my thing at all. The thing with this film is both loved, hate. Oh, really? Okay, so Polly, I had no idea that it was slash hated at all in the Chicano community. Um, I just assumed it was pretty much overwhelmingly loved in the Chicano community. But since you said it's become our Scarface, I don't know. Do you? Is it because of the depiction of Chicanos in here, or what is? Because honestly, I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious. But yeah, it was very like that. It was very just the slang that they would use and the way. Now Damien Chapa, he is Latino, from what I understand. Um, and the character he played was a white Latino, and he got a lot of hate. Like he couldn't necessarily fit in completely. Like he was white on the outside, but I can't remember what he said he was on the inside. I can't remember the wording he used, but the way he would act those parts to express the way he felt, it was he because his character was so earnest and everything, but it was so cringe. I'm going to use cringe a lot because it was cringe. You would have to see it to know what I'm talking about. Have you seen it, Simon?
I've not seen it. I have a Chicano friend who's showed me clips of it, but
Ah,
I've never actually seen the whole thing.
okay. Well, so that's my first one. Let's see. Not I'll always get heat from others for well, Polly, we all love the different things we love. I did withhold from saying that I didn't like this movie on your Twitter, specifically because I know you get on my case when I talk about all the things I don't like, but anyway. I have seen Colors. I didn't like Colors. I didn't like that either. So, you'll see that there's this theme with me. If for anybody who's watched any of my stuff, you know that there's just like there's some genres that just don't click very well with me. And if they do, if a certain movie from a genre I don't like does click with me, I'm the first one to admit how surprised I am. So, I'm oh no. Even if I join your membership, Polly. Gosh. Was he like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic? No. Um, well, you mean because of how Robert Downey Jr.'s character was like truly acted like he thought he was a black person? No, this guy, he really was like Latino or whatever. He wasn't like it's hard to explain because Latino, it's not a race, it's not a skin color, because you can have white and you can have like all across all the spectrum, white, black, brown, they can be Latino. I mean, Canelo, one of the greatest fighters in Mexico, is white as white bread can be. But he was just like, no, I felt like Robert Downey Jr.'s character uh, was a bit different because that was also played for comedy. This is not the way this movie is played.
My
So,
Chicano friend, he's a professor of ethics, and he's saying that there's a thing called Latino philosophy, and every Latino philosophy conference he goes to is just arguing about what constitutes Latino.
that sounds to me like the sort of commentary or discussion or arguments that can go on between different black people. Like they do, well, you're not black if you do this, and you're not black if, like this. To me, that's just wild.
Yeah.
Because
Like a lot of people say, is it a Spanish thing? And no, because Brazil is Latino and it speaks Portuguese. So
yeah, they do speak Portuguese, but I guess they are considered still Latino.
As far as I
Okay.
know.
Okay, so that's my that's my first one out of 6, I believe. Yeah, it's cultural peer pressure. Well, whatever. I always
Okay.
admire people who are willing to just be their own thing. Um, you know what? I want to say I don't think so. But I honestly don't know what Filipinos consider themselves. Do they consider themselves Asian? Do they consider themselves Latino? That's a good question. Yeah, Vatos Locos forever. Oh my gosh. I can even hear him say it. What's that character's name? Oh, Damien Chapa. Oh my gosh. I can hear him say that in my brain. It's okay, Simon, your turn. Sorry, rant over.
Okay, number 2
Okay.
is The Fifth Element.
Oh, really?
I
Okay, this
just
surprises me.
I hate this movie. It's just so try hard and cringy. It's like the equivalent of uh I don't know, Sharknado versus Cockpocalypse. It's just trying
Oh,
too hard to be weird and quirky and
have
everything, but it's
maybe
just
you mentioned this before in one of our streams? Because if
maybe.
you have, I've totally forgotten that you disliked this so much. I didn't realize you disliked it to this extent.
Yeah, people love it because it is quirky, but it's trying to be quirky, and because of that, it's just not cool.
So you feel like it's a little bit too over the top with this quirkiness.
Well, if you think about bad movies, the Room is a bad movie,
Oh gosh.
and it's good. It's so bad it's good. But then you have the tryhards like Sharknado that is just it's self-aware and it knows it's kind of goofy, and I just don't like that.
Oh, I see. Okay. This was I okay, so I definitely I don't I'm not super obsessed with or in love with this film, but it is to me it was fun and I really like Chris Tucker in here. I thought he was hilarious. Yes, he was goofy and silly, but for
Mhm.
me in this particular moment in this the way it was playing out, it worked for me. Come here. Come on, Chip. Sorry, hold on a minute, you guys. My dog has a diaper on, so it's hard for her to. She's being she has a diaper on because she's been a bad girl. So
The Mila Jovovich in that bikini, I like that part. I like
oh
that
well,
aspect
of
of it, but
course, I'd be surprised if you didn't.
the rest of it, not so much.
It you know came back to the big screen, and I almost went to go see it, but I ended up not just because it's not one of those things that I'm super in love with. Is why I really liked Gary Oldman in here. Yeah, Chris Tucker. Yeah, I see what you mean about the quirkiness and the over the topness. But
Yeah.
strangely, it worked for me this time.
I
Okay,
think
so
it was maybe
Darth.
just disappointed because I really loved Gary Oldman in that era,
Oh,
and this
okay.
was just kind of just so goofy. I just didn't like it.
He definitely was goofy.
Hmm.
It was a weird mixture of goofy, crazy comedy, which is not normally my thing. But I think the story that it was wrapped up in helped it work for me for whatever reason. So
Hmm.
Darth Plato thinks that Lilu's the most annoying character ever. So May
Yep.
Win, that's all I can. So May Win or My Win or whatever the heck her name is, she directed that Johnny Depp movie that just came out, and she was also in a horror movie called High Tension. So that's just a little bit of trivia. You guys probably already know that. So Darth is saying so Latinos has to be America's only. Maybe honestly, I don't know. I mean, I feel
Well, I would
like
imagine it'd be from the Latin languages, the
Lat-
Romance languages.
yeah, like I feel like Spaniards are considered Latino, but I honestly, you know, when I use the term Latino, I am referring to people who either like that is their native language and ethnicity, or that is their like their heritage. Maybe they don't like my children are part Latino. They don't speak Spanish. That's their father's fault. Thank you very much. Um, so I don't know like I don't know if there's this actual clear delineation between what's considered Latino and other Spanish speakers that aren't.
Let's look it up.
Here we go. Of course you haven't, Mike. You haven't seen most movies that most other people have. Okay, sorry, I interrupted the lesson. What did you find out? What does it say? Because I got the screen kind of small, so I can't read the words.
Commonly refers to the United States inhabitants who have cultural ties to Latin America.
Okay, so really, United States inhabitants.
Living accounting the Brazilians, Spanish and Europeans. Monophonics Portuguese.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess it kind of makes sense. So basically it's just a geographical sort of.
Outside the United States, we don't
Depends
speak
on-
of Latinos. We speak of Mexicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, and so forth. So it's very much a sort of melting pot, catch-all term to
Okay.
sort of bump up the numbers kind of thing.
Okay.
Same with whites, you know.
Right.
Over here, we don't we talk about whites. We talk about Italians and
Right.
Germans,
Okay.
etc.
That's interesting.
Nope.
GD says Latinos come from Latin America, so any language that comes from a Spanish or Portuguese background, which originally came from Latin. That makes sense too. Okay, hold on. I'm missing some. Ruby Rod. Is that a character in The Fifth Element?
It is. That's Chris Tucker's.
Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
He was so funny in there to me. I don't like. Arturo still quotes some of those lines, some of the lines from that movie that he said because he's crazy. Any of the Romance languages, I think. Now French is a Romance language, right? I don't think we call French people Latinos. We don't call them Latinos. So
Romanian is a Romance language.
What is?
Romanian.
Oh, Romanian is.
Yep.
Okay. When I think of Romance languages, I just think of Italian, French, and Spanish. I don't know all of the different languages. Depp seems weird for Louis XV. He had the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old. He constantly needed to be entertained and couldn't govern. Well, I mean, maybe that's the way the king was. I honestly don't know. But I felt like Depp was fine in the role. He spoke French, but he didn't speak it much. And most of his acting, like I mentioned in my review, was done with facial expression. It really wasn't a movie about him. So I because I don't really deeply understand that history, I really had nothing to compare it to. I just went with it. I know the king had a lot of ladies, and it blew my mind that there was a position such as chief royal mistress. Just the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm just like, what? This is a title? Okay. Sorry, let me get back to the. I don't know. Darth. In my brain, when I think of Latino, I think of any, like, that would include Spaniards, but I don't know how everybody else might perceive it. Latins are Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian. Latino is an abbreviation of Latin America, so it has to be from the American. Okay. Is it really 26 languages? I don't know. Okay, no. Someone says it's just 5. Then someone says there's 44 Romance languages. What the heck? I don't know if English originated from Latin. I thought English was kind of a melting pot of different. I thought we were it was like Germanic.
Yeah, it's primarily Germanic, I think.
Okay.
But it kind of takes from everywhere.
Yeah, it's like English is a melting pot. Just different languages. Yes, it does have many Latin cognates. In those times, the gender fluidness, perhaps Vogue magazine should change its name to Fake. Either on their 5 or no longer. Okay. Wow, I didn't realize there were this many comments. Sorry. Since talking about movies you hate, I have one that stands out. Legion. Is that the one with Paul Bettany in it? I never finished that one. I don't remember feeling like it was very good. Loads of French words. So, yeah, we share words with Spanish. So yeah, obviously Latin. Yeah, Italian, French, Spanish. Okay. All right. I'm all caught up. So it's my turn to move on to the next one. All right. Yes. Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
This movie bored me, and it was too ridiculous. Just the whole premise of it was so ridiculous to me.
Jenny's a whore.
And she is, and she treated him terribly.
Yeah.
And I didn't like her. And he was too, I don't know, he was such an idiot. And I'm not saying that to be, he was a very simple idiot. Like he was just like this nothing that was there. And all these things just kind of happened. Yeah, I know. I think this is another one of those things where, because it became so popular and everybody else seemed to love it and acted like it was just the greatest, I started to dislike it intensely more and more and more. When I first saw it, it was just like, oh, okay, not my favorite. No real interest to watch it again. But this also happened to be one of those movies that my husband really liked and watched a lot back in the day. Are you picking up a pattern here? That if I'm repeatedly exposed to something that I'm not super in love with, I start to hate it. So that's the case with Forrest Gump. But just like all this stuff that happened to him, it was supposed to be so comedic and this is funny. He shook President Kennedy's hand. But to me, I was just like, this is so stupid.
It's a sequence of cute moments which by themselves are kind of endearing, but the story altogether is just all this. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, like we're supposed to honestly believe that Elvis got his inspiration from Forrest Gump. It doesn't. You can take or
Is it
leave
not
it.
based on the Shakespeare thing? Is it? Oh God, Gilder's fuck. It's like Gilder snatching. I can't remember what it's called, but it's these two characters who kind of drive the story, even though they're bumbling idiots.
I have not seen that because it sounds like something I absolutely would not like. But yeah, I don't know. It overrated. And Forrest Gump. Listen to me. I almost said Forrest Gump's acting. Tom Hanks' acting in here is not like, I don't know. I didn't think he was that great in here. I mean, Tom Hanks is okay. He's not one of my favorite actors ever. But I certainly wasn't super impressed with his performance in here. And just the story in general. I can't. Like, I couldn't even buy into the whole hookup between him and Jenny. That didn't even, whatever. So yeah. Mike, Saltburn won't be in my list because I don't think this was something that was, I feel like Saltburn was kind of a little divisive and not necessarily something that that the majority of people really, really loved. So it won't be on this list, but I do hate that movie, as you know.
I probably hate it because it has Barry Keoghan in it, and I hate him as an ambassador for Ireland. He's just such a fucking weird-looking little troll.
He is strange looking.
Fucking stand him.
I mean, I think he's a decent enough actor, but I'm almost, so did you watch it?
No.
Simon? Okay.
No.
Well, there's some really disgusting stuff in there, which I know you've probably heard about. And one of the more disgusting, well, there's 3 specifically really gross scenes in there. One of the really disturbing scenes involves something happening at a gravesite.
I heard about that. I heard it was his idea.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This makes me wonder about him as a person. I don't know. Like, I don't know. That whole scene was just whatever. Okay, I've gone over about what I feel about that movie, but yeah. You
Yeah.
have
See, Ireland is going through a weird time at the moment because, as you know, it was ruled by the church for a long, long time. And they're just coming out of that. So they're kind of in like this sort of teenage rebellious phase where they're just kind of doing things for attention. Like this year's, I don't know if anyone has ever heard of the Eurovision Song Contest, but Ireland's entry for that is quite something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, I think that explains why Ireland is the way it is at the moment.
Well, I never I never felt like Ireland was a certain way as far as stuff that's going on because I have no idea about what's happening over there currently.
Ireland was basically a sort of semi-theocracy for hundreds of years. The church had massive influence.
Right. The church had a
Yeah.
massive
And now,
influence on multiple governments.
yeah. And now the whole sort of pederasty things coming out, they've just abandoned it. So it's a weird time.
Kind of like
Like the old folks, they are still sort of heavily invested in the church, and then the younger folks are kind of rebelling against
they're
them.
kind of, yeah, giving the
Yeah,
middle
so
finger basically to all
there's
of
a lot
that.
of sort of people acting out, sort of
Oh,
doing the
I see.
fucking the
Okay.
grave and everything like that.
Well. Uh,
Hey, Sashi.
hello, Sashi. Deleted refers to Sashi as from the future. Because technically he is. Yeah, I kind of feel like Hanks is overrated. I'm not super. I've never been super crazy about Hanks. Barry Keoghan. He is odd looking. And you remember that movie critic we were talking about? Oh gosh, the artist. Deep focus lens.
Mm-hmm.
She when
Tits McGee.
the what?
Tits McGee.
Yeah, that girl. She I watched her video for Saltburn. I think before I watched the movie, and she was referring to him. She used a term to describe how he looked. And it was kind of like basically she was like she felt like he was beautiful, like he was just very, I don't know, sensuous, or there's something about him. I do not agree with that sentiment at all because he is so unusual looking for sure. I do think he's a good actor, but after Saltburn, I don't know. I feel a bit ambivalent about him because especially finding out the whole thing about the graveyard scene was his idea. That's just, I don't know. That's really gross to me.
I think it looks like a Muppet who got all his fuzz burned off in a house fire.
I can tell you don't like him. He does have an unusual look, that's for sure. I think the first time I ever saw him might have been in Dunkirk. I think he was in Dunkirk. I think Forrest Gump is a big movie because of the time it was released and it was something different. It was definitely different. Yeah, I don't think it would be. Maybe. I'm Eurovision. Hosting a party on Saturday. I don't expect UK or Ireland to do well. Okay. Yeah, I haven't been following any of that stuff, so I have no idea. Next should be 5 actors we hate. That's a good one, too. I like that idea. Let's try to remember that, Simon.
Mm-hmm.
I'll jot it down just in case.
Yep, he was in Dunkirk.
Yeah, he was the kid who he died. I think he got a head injury or something. He was like one of the kids that went on the boat to try to help.
Yeah.
Okay. A movie people love and I hate is Dogma. Oh, that's interesting. I enjoyed Dogma, but I could see why some people might not would like it, especially if I guess people felt like it might be a bit, I don't know, sacrilegious or blasphemous or whatever. I thought in general it was a pretty good film. Looks like the top half and the bottom half of his face are mismatched.
Yep.
Okay, all right. That's my 5th one. Your turn, Simon.
Okay. Don't really have much to say about this.
Okay.
But I do not like There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood. Okay, I have not watched
Yeah.
this because I'm not
You
super
haven't?
crazy about what's his face, Daniel Day Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis is awesome.
Okay, I'm not crazy
You
about
really need to get over that. But yeah, it's. I just find it boring. It was really fucking boring. I think people liked it because they made them feel smart because it was a metaphor for uh, capitalism and the church sort of fighting for the soul of America.
Okay.
But I just don't like the way it played out. As you can see from the poster, it's a cross
Oh,
on the
that's a cross.
oil.
For some reason, I was thinking it was an oil. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Oh,
But I think it
okay.
just made people feel smart, but I just didn't think it was particularly smart. And just kind of overacted and not very good. Sorry, I didn't like it.
Okay. What's the audience review for this? Like, do most people in general enjoy it?
Let's
I
see,
thought the critics did like.
8.2.
Oh wow, it is very high. How much of that do you think is because of Daniel Day Lewis? Sometimes people's love
Yeah,
for an actor drives the love for a movie.
it could be. But again, I think it just made critics feel like they were smart because they recognized the very obvious
Right.
metaphors to the play.
Okay. Well, I was never interested because it didn't look like anything that would be interesting to me, and also him.
Mhm.
I like he's one of those actors that definitely does not interest me to watch a movie just if he's in it.
I like him. Well, he
I
is
know a lot of
Irish, but
people
you know.
do. I know a lot of people. Oh,
Oh,
well,
can you
that's
imagine
right. He
Paul
is.
Dano and Barry Keoghan in a sex scene?
What?
Can you imagine Paul Dano and Barry Keoghan in a sex scene?
Were they in a sex scene? Were they in this
No,
movie?
but like that would be like the most disgusting thing.
Oh, right. Well, I'm generally not a big fan of sex scenes, so
Both weird looking little trolls.
that would be right. I'm not crazy about Paul Dano. Um, yeah, he doesn't really do too much for me. Uh, let's give 4 actors that could make the. Okay, so he's going to give one: Timothy Chalamet, Melissa McCarthy, Jason Statham, Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman would definitely be on my list. Um, Timothy Chalamet, I feel like he's kind of overrated, and
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy, she's funny to me. Like I really liked her in Bridesmaids. I thought she was hilarious, but I don't watch a lot of her movies. Jason Statham, he's okay, but I know you are not crazy about him. Just like I know you don't like Guy Ritchie too much, Mike.
Growing up, I loved Indiana Jones and Han Solo, but my dad hated Harrison Ford. I'm like, why do you hate Harrison Ford? How can you hate Harrison Ford? And he's like, he sounds like a farmer. And ever since, I haven't been able to unhear it.
I never picked up on him sounding like a farmer.
Yeah, but you like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, so you know.
Well, but Harrison speaks English,
Yeah.
you know. So, but I don't pick up on. I don't hear. I mean, what's a farmer supposed to sound like?
I
Do
think it's just because he
farmers?
mumbles a lot.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I'm kind of,
Okay. Um, hold on.
And have you
That
seen Gangs of New York?
I have not. I know Colin really liked that movie, but that's another
Okay.
film I just was never. I no, I
Have
haven't
you seen
watched.
In the Name of the Father?
No,
Okay.
I did see Last of the Mohicans, and I wasn't impressed. And he was
Well,
in
yeah.
there. I saw that years ago, long
Yeah.
time ago. Go ahead. And I never watched Lincoln because I just wasn't interested. So there's a lot of his films I haven't seen because he just doesn't do much for me. I don't know. Maybe one day that will change. I'm willing to admit if my mind changes on something. Good acting and There Will Be Blood, but otherwise, meh. Okay. Feel the same about Gangs of New York. You taking shots?
I think his best movie is probably In the Name of the Father, which is about people being accused of an IRA bombing, falsely accused of an IRA bombing, and the
Oh,
sort of efforts to get them out of jail. But the most sort of acting he's done is Gangs of New York, definitely. Or maybe even There Will Be Blood, but Gangs of New York is the most fun.
The most fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't he up for an award for Lincoln? Like an Oscar
I
or
think so.
am I
Yeah.
misremembering? Portman can definitely be wooden. That's not why I don't like her. I just don't like her as a person. So that does affect how I feel about her as an actor. Jack Black. Ford is like John Wayne, just plays himself. Yeah, he kind of does play the same sort of character. Last of the Mohicans was a lot of running. I do remember there was quite a bit of running through the forest.
He's a 3-time Oscar winner for My
Okay.
Left Foot, There Will Be Blood, and Lincoln.
Okay. All right. I thought I remembered something about some award show when Lincoln came out.
Mm-hmm. Have you
I,
seen My Left Foot?
I was getting ready to say I think I did eons ago, but I don't remember much about it. Was he like a disabled person or
Yeah.
okay? I don't remember anything about that movie.
I remember seeing him in the early movie. I think it was A Beautiful Laundrette, where he played a gay guy. And he's been interviewed by police.
I've not heard of that one.
And he's like, "Can I have a cigarette?" They're like, "No, smoking's bad for you, you know." And he takes a cigarette and like, someone's been fucked up the ass, but I don't care.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
How old is that movie?
That is 85.
Oh, so way back when he was just a
Yeah.
baby. Okay.
So yeah, it's my number 3.
Okay. All right. My next one. Yeah. I hate this movie. The one time I saw it, I so when I saw this, I had already seen the one from the 70s, which to me was so much better because it was so colorful and it was so grand and the cinematography was nice and the score, I love the score and I love Jessica Lange in there. She played such a ditz, but for some reason I really liked her in there and I loved how they made it with the hand holding her and all this stuff. And then I watched this movie and this has so much like the ratings for this film are really really on up there. Critics and audience alike. Not so much for the 76 movie. But I watched this and the chick that he was in love with in this movie annoyed the absolute hell out of me. All she did was scream the whole time. Scream, 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 scream. And it got so annoying, I just wished he would kill her. And I didn't, yeah, claymation or some sort of stop. I don't know if it was clay or if it was like stop motion and they had actual frame. I don't know, honestly. I didn't I wasn't okay. So I know that for back in the day it was probably considered very groundbreaking. But obviously by the time I saw it, I guess this is one of those things where like kids from the current generation aren't so enthralled by things that we considered absolutely legendary from the 70s and 80s. I guess that's maybe the same thing for me. When I saw this, I did not like the special effects were terrible. The acting was terrible. And I feel like this was so hugely overrated. I think the reason that it was as overrated as it was because of how groundbreaking the special effects and all that were. But obviously when you see it many decades later, like many, many, many decades later, it looks awful. And
It's
so,
a Citizen Kane effect. Many people believe it to be the best movie ever made, but then when a sort of modern teen goes back to it, they don't really say anything special about it because
right.
everything, all the movies since then have
It's
copied
been
from it.
done that way. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I know, I remember my brother, the one from California, he studied Citizen Kane. He had some sort of film class, and he was talking about, why it was considered so groundbreaking at the time. And while I can logically understand this, just like I can with King Kong, I remember I saw Citizen Kane and I wasn't super thrilled with it. I thought it was boring and I didn't like it. So yeah, I think that that probably is why. Maybe if I was a little child back in the 30s when this came out and I watched it, I would be blown away. But no, to me it just doesn't hold up.
For an example for our generation would be the Death Star at the start of Star Wars.
Mm,
Like nothing like that had been seen before. But that's
right.
absolutely nothing to a kid now.
Mm-mm. My daughter watched Halloween and it's boring to her.
Mm. Boring
What?
to me as well.
All right, Simon. Is that one of your picks?
Actually, I probably could have it in there.
Really? You hate it?
Yeah.
You hate Halloween?
I'm just, I don't ever think about it. It's even worse than that.
Okay,
It's
so
just, yeah,
you don't spend any mental energy on it at all.
no, it's just boring.
Oh, see, I feel like the pacing is just I love so much about that movie. Yeah, probably because I'm still very scarred by it, but I like how
Yeah.
effective and just how primal the fear that it elicits in me
Hmm.
is.
No, but
And
you watched it under very weird
I
circumstances.
did. I did.
You know,
I was way too young.
that's gotta be more fucking mentally scarring than just watching it.
And
God.
especially in a creepy house. It was a
Yeah.
creepy house where my mom was working at like bats in the attic and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And also there were definitely all these different factors at play. I grew up without a TV, so anything I was exposed to was very impactful for me. I
Tell
had
the audience
never
quickly the how you watched it the first time,
Oh,
or
yeah,
not didn't watch it the first
yeah,
time.
that's yeah. I for anybody who hasn't heard, because we do have quite a few viewers, I'm streaming this to Rumble, Twitter, and YouTube. Um, so I grew up without a TV, but my mom, I was exposed to different things on TV, and my mom happened to work. She was a caretaker for an older lady in the close to downtown area. It's kind of a crime-ridden area, whatever. So it was already kind of a little scary sort of situation, and the house was big and cruise like this mansion thing, whatever. Had bats in the attic, and it was old house, and so my dad and I would go over when she had night shift duty, and this particular night, Halloween was playing on TV. I think it was probably because it was promo for Halloween 2 that was going to be coming out. So it was like early 80s. And when it started and it became evident, I think like the opening scene, obviously it becomes evident this is something that is, pretty gnarly because there's blood involved and killing and all this. So instead of changing the channel, my parents made me just turn around, put my back to the screen, but I could hear I could hear everything that was happening, and that mask, that creepy
Her parents Blair witched her.
they you know what? If they had known
Yeah.
how much it was going to scar me, they just weren't thinking. They would take me to movie theaters because they couldn't get a babysitter, so they take me to movie theaters, and I'd be exposed to things at movie theaters. Like went to go see Lipstick.
Hmm.
I never forgot parts of that, and there were other movies, and so anyway, then they think he's dead, and they tell me I can turn around. He's dead. And doggone it if he doesn't get up again and come after her and strangle her and all this stuff, and that scarred me so bad, you guys. I was so scared of Michael Myers. It was just that white mask, that breathing. I still have nightmares about Michael Myers. Legit still have. I mean, I had one a few weeks ago. I have one about him probably once or twice a year. It's so stupid, and I know it's stupid, but then when I rewatched the movie, eventually as I got older, I rewatched the movie, and I love it. It's like probably my favorite horror movie ever. Right behind that is Halloween 2018. But yeah, that really legit scarred me. I mean, there were things that I did. I would wake up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom, and was too scared to walk down the hallway because it was a dark hallway. And right by the bathroom was the scary laundry room area. And my parents wouldn't let me sleep with them. They sent me back to bed, and I'm walking in the dark like this. I mean, I was so scared of him. It's so stupid. And I have a picture of him right back here. So stupid. But yeah, so Halloween is my favorite horror movie. And when my daughter saw it, she felt like it was boring. Yeah. And it just blows my mind. But anyway, so yeah. Sorry, that was a trip down memory lane. There's people that said this was the best film probably aren't alive anymore. Well, that's true. They might be. Why don't I like Portman? Okay, Carl, I'll tell you why. I've
Because she's
never.
a Jew.
No, it's not that at all. I've never really cared for her, to be honest. There was just like something about her that didn't really sit right with me. And then after Thor 2 came out, she said some stuff that kind of confirmed, oh, this is probably why I don't like her. I could just pick up on this about her. But in Thor 2, there's a scene where her character slaps Chris Hemsworth because she's mad because he didn't come back to her right away. You know, he was busy saving the world and destroying the gateway back to her world. So her first greeting was to smack him in the face because she's mad at him. And I was reading this article and she was saying how, well, she couldn't do a fake slap very well. She just couldn't do a fake slap. So in these scenes, in that scene where she's slapping him, she's really slapping him. And there were multiple takes. So she was slapping him each time. And in this article that I read, she was saying how it felt like a slap for all womankind. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. This is why I don't like you. You're a man hater. I don't like you. That's not okay. Could you imagine if a guy couldn't fake slap and had to actually legit slap a woman on screen? Would that go over well in an article if a guy admitted to it? And then he said it felt like a slap for all mankind. Like, what the hell? Why is that okay? That's not okay. So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I intensely dislike her. So
I'd still let her slap me, but that's just me.
But I mean, I guess a lot of guys think differently about stuff like that. But to me, it's not okay. I always swap, like in a situation where something is happening to one group or one type of person. If you switch the genders, let's say in this instance, if you switch the genders, it would be considered horrifically bad and terrible. Then it's bad and terrible. It doesn't matter if it's a girl doing it to a guy. So that's, I don't like her. Yeah. She supported.
I have affection for her because I first saw her in
The Professional.
The Professional. It's called Leon over here.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't like her in there.
I thought that was her best role, and ever since then it's just been downhill. She was good in Black Swan, but that called for the character to be very wooden, which matched her acting. So
okay, did you see May December?
No,
I watched that because I got a screener for it, and she was okay in there, but the subject matter is so gross and disturbing that I have trouble just liking the movie in general, just because the story itself. So of course, then she's part of the movie. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on all these movies being re-released? I actually like it.
Me too.
I love it.
Gives people a chance to see it in the big screen when they did
exactly. Before. Yeah, we saw The Mummy, 25th anniversary of The Mummy, and 25th of The Mummy and 45th of Alien. And I'd never seen either of those movies on the big screen. I loved it.
The Crow is coming on the 29th and 30th.
Yeah, I almost bought a ticket to that, Simon, but I'm not super in love with The Crow, so I ended up not buying it. I might change my mind just to go see what it looked like on the big screen, because I never saw that on the big screen either. I think they should do more of that, honestly. I would love to see The Terminator on the big screen. This is the 40th anniversary, and they have not released it yet. I don't understand what is the holdup. Anyway, sorry, I'm missing some. Yeah, I do too. It scares the crap out of me, but I still like it. But not the. Yeah, I don't like what they did with specifically Halloween. I'm not crazy about what they did with that. Some of the places that storyline went, I'll still watch them, but I don't like what they did with it. Hey Drew, how are you? Midsommar and Hereditary, I feel the same way.
Hereditary was fucking awesome.
I didn't like it at all, and I like Toni Collette. It has nothing to do with the acting or anything. I just didn't like the story. But I know a lot of people really liked it. But that same guy did Midsummer, and I did not like that movie either. Who in their right mind would support Polanski? There's some people who do. She was bad. Yeah, she wasn't very good. She wasn't very good in those. It's a
Well,
movie
nobody
that
was good
some.
in those.
It's true. I still prefer them to the Ray movies, but they're not
Yeah.
so great. Pass on the New Crow. I'm probably going to watch the New Crow. Just honestly, I almost feel like I should go see the original Crow. Then, if I'm going to
Mhm.
see, maybe I will. When did you say it's coming out, Simon?
29th and 30th.
Oh shoot.
Alex Proyas is
Oh,
being dissing the new Crow.
what's that? Sorry.
Alex Proyas, the director of the original, has been dissing the new Crow.
He's doing what in the New Crow?
He's dissing the new
Oh,
Crow.
he's dissing it.
Yeah.
Really? What did he say?
Let's look it up.
I'm going to be going out of town that weekend, but I might be able to see it before I go. I agree. I don't think it was either. True. Hereditary was terrifying. A lot of people really like it. Oh, well, I could see that happening. Going to get hate for this. People love American Beauty. I find it overrated. I saw it once. I felt like it was overrated as well. The original, yeah, it's okay. I don't hate it. I'm just not super into it. That's why I thought about not going to see it. But maybe I will. Like I said, if I'm going to go see the new one, maybe I will rewatch. He's also directing. Oh, is he? I guess I didn't realize that. I don't always attach names to projects, so I don't always, as far as directors go. I guess I didn't realize that was him. Didn't like The Crow? Okay. Out of all the movies that came out in 2018, I thought Mission Impossible, Fallout, and Black Panther were better. I don't remember all of the movies that came out in 2018, but I did like both of those. I don't get love for The Crow at all. Really? I don't. I'm wondering if maybe the love for it is because of, it was based on a comic book. Maybe that's why they felt like it was a good adaptation. I never
It
read the
was the
comic.
comic book. It was the fact that
Brandon Crow?
it just had
Brandon Crow. Oh my gosh.
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee. What happened to him? I wonder if that has anything
Exactly.
to do with it.
Yep. And just it was in the 90s. It was like the coolest fucking thing.
I remember it
So,
was
yeah.
it was a big thing when it came. I remember when he died. I remember all of that. What's this you pulled up?
This is Alex Proyas' comments. You're really getting the joy from seeing the negativity by fellow filmmakers' work. And I'm certain the cast and crew really had good intentions, as we do with any film, so it pains me to say more on this topic, but I think the fans' response speaks volumes. The Crow is not just a movie. Brandon Lee died making it. And when finishes a testament to his lost brilliance and tragic loss, this is a legacy. That's how it should remain.
I'm assuming that he felt similarly about the other Crow movies that came out. Does he just feel like there shouldn't be any
I
Crow
imagine so, yeah.
movies?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, Hollywood is on this kick. Oh. I don't know. I don't know about this. That's not a
Yeah.
very flattering
Oh no, it looks fucking awful.
No, that looks even worse than that first still that they showed.
Yeah.
Okay. Face paint and trench coat. Yeah. Oh, really? They banned them? Okay. People, Boyhood. I never saw Boyhood. So, okay, Simon, it's your turn.
Okay. Some people might have noticed that. This is just such an easy one.
Oh, is that the last one, right? Is that the last one?
That is
the one
the
before.
middle one.
Okay, all right.
Because this is the one that fucking destroyed Star Wars.
Ah.
It's just, It's completely nonsensical. It is the epitome of the whole sort of woke movement.
Mm.
It's just where the message, as Critical Drinker would put
As
it,
the drinker calls it, yeah.
was put ahead of everything else. And yeah, I just despise this movie. It's awful.
So, did you watch the one after this?
I did.
Oh,
And I have more sympathy for the one after this than this one.
really?
Because this
Okay.
one, it shits on everything the Star Wars is. And the second one tries to recover from that. It
Right.
completely fails in doing it,
Yeah.
but it's a hard task, you know? So,
This one was the one that was definitely the beginning of sort of the downfall of Star Wars stuff
yeah,
under the Disney mantle.
totally.
Yeah. I have mentioned repeatedly that I stopped watching when Luke threw the lightsaber over his shoulder at the very beginning. I was just like, I couldn't, it was stupid. And I got tired of Daisy Ridley's face in here. Because I started to really intensely dislike her character. It didn't take much at the like she was okay-ish in the first one, but then by the time this one came around, I was just like, I don't like her face. I don't like Ray. And then he tosses the lightsaber and I'm out of here. I'm done. So I just never finished it. So
Luke Skywalker in this would be the equivalent of Sarah Connor, just not giving a fuck. I'm watching my stories.
like
Go
like
away.
like Sarah Connor in Dark Fate practically. Except Simon, to be fair, I don't feel like this movie was loved by almost everyone.
Well, yeah, that's why it's like number 4.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Deadpool. Okay. TLJ was deliberate iconoclasm. Yeah, this was I get the Last Jedi and is it Rise of Skywalker is the last
Yeah.
one? Okay. TFA. Oh, The Force Awakens. Yeah.
I like The Force Awakens. It
was
set things up. It had potential, but it was retroactively destroyed by the following movies.
And this is why you don't like Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Knives Out to me was enjoyable. I went into that movie with great hesitation because I knew what he had done with Star Wars. Is it? Yes, it is. And I heard about this scene, you guys. I heard about this scene, and then I saw a clip of it, and it is as cringe as people were saying it was. It was so bad. What a dishonor to that character. And also, oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, and she just goes, shoo, right? Oh, no! So terrible. Oh my gosh. That is so bad. That is so bad. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much pushback on this one because, yeah, this is when Star Wars turned into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Go sit in the corner now. Don't go sit in the corner. It's okay. I don't dislike Spider-Man Homecoming, but I find it slightly overrated. I think I like that one more than Far From Home. Knives Out is meh. I enjoy the first one more than the second one. I think part of the enjoyment of Knives Out was the huge cast. It was such a big ensemble, and I felt like they played off each other really well. Mark Hamill was warning how bad it was going to be. Yeah, it is terrible, isn't it? It's, oh gosh. No, it is not very good. It really isn't. It's just really, it feels like almost everything Disney touches nowadays just goes to crap. Not even Darth Vader can, right? So stupid. Like, what was he? It was like he intentionally set out to screw it up. Well,
I think
actually,
it's all about subverting expectations. And that could have been a perfect place to take Carrie Fisher out of the thing, but no, He had to like surprise people.
I had a bad feeling the moment Disney said they were dumping the lore. Oh, yeah. Me too. Me too. Because I didn't go see. I didn't go. When I started watching this, it was at home, and then I just didn't finish. I was
I
like,
actually
oh,
thought dumping the extended universe was a pretty good idea because it meant they could start from scratch and pick and choose from the stories like they did with Marvel. Like they have the Marvel movies aren't direct copies of the comic book series, but they are inspired by it. And I thought that was the intention with that, but yeah, it just turned into shitting on everything.
yeah. I was getting ready to say something and I totally forgot what it was because I got sidetracked. I noticed I got a super chat. Thank you very much, Darth Plato. Return of. Oh, you don't like Return of the Jedi. Okay. So I will admit, the Ewoks don't do it for me in Return of the Jedi. So if that's why you dislike it, I can get it. I like almost everything else about that movie except for the whole thing with the Ewoks. That's kind of that didn't age very well.
I think Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars movie.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, well, that is definitely goes against what I feel like most people think is that Empire
No,
Strikes
I get
Back is the best.
I get the whole criticism of the Ewoks and everything, but the end of it, where there's like a three-tiered battle, where
Yeah.
the ground forces are fighting for
Yeah.
the aerial forces, and then that's being overviewed by the battle on the Death Star. I think that is a stroke of genius.
Yeah, I like that part. I do like that. I especially like just the showdown between Luke and his father.
Mhm.
It's to me it still holds up pretty well.
Also, as a kid, the choice to not fight, and that was
Mm.
what being a Jedi was completely relevatory. Relevatory?
Revelatory?
Revelatory. That's
Re-
what we're looking for.
revelatory? Is that what you're trying to
I think so.
say? It does feel that way, Void. It really does. I don't know like what the heck. So people complain sometimes when a movie just kind of redoes the same thing over and over. And yet at the same time they don't like it when it strays too far off. So it's like there's this middle ground where you want it to sort of follow formula, but you want something fresh to go along with it. And it was like with this movie, he went way overboard with trying something fresh. Did he write it? Who wrote the screenplay
He
for
wrote it,
this?
yeah.
He did write it. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I loathe Palpatine. Well, Palpatine is a really bad person. You should loathe him. That
It says
actor was
Ryan
at a con
Johnson
I went
and
to recently. What's that?
it says Ryan Johnson and George Lucas wrote it, but I imagine it's
Oh,
characters by George
I
Lucas.
don't think. Yeah, I don't think George Lucas had a thing to do with this. The way the story was written. Everyone seemed to like Star Wars Heir to the Empire novels. I didn't like them. I haven't read many Star Wars novels. I think there's been only one and a half. No, I've read more than one and a half. But one of the ones that stands out to me is it's basically I think it's 4 books. It's about oh my god, what? Oh, that's that thing he was milking, right? Is that the
Yeah.
thing he was milking? What the
Hmm.
hell? I can't. Oh, you don't like the Jabba Palace thing. Okay. I did not like that the Empire lost, to be honest, would be better for the rebellion to be crushed. Okay. Didn't like the Yubnub people? Who were the Yubnub people? Were they in this
The
movie?
Ewoks.
Oh, the Ewoks. Oh, okay. Nah, I wasn't crazy about them. I like the pace, land battle for most part, the Viet Cong earn. Ewoks didn't do it for me.
I think they're a mix between the Viet Cong and the Hobbits.
Is that what they were supposed to be?
I've never heard that before. I just pulled it out of my ass right now, but it
Oh,
seems like it fits. Oh, and those fucking things, porgs.
oh. I remember there was like this Asian chick with what blue hair or something, or
Oh
was
yeah,
Laura Dern's character? She had purple hair
she
or
was the
something.
she had purple hair.
Yeah, I heard she was. Yeah, I just have no glimmer of desire at all to watch this. And the more Disney is involved in all this stuff, the less I'm really interested in anything Star Wars related. Shadow was good, but I didn't like Thrawn. Why didn't they movie about the order? Yeah, there's a lot of source material they could draw from to make some pretty interesting storylines, but it was like they decided, nah, we'll just come up with our own crap. Oh, you mean it's like a Halloween guy? Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you mean. The scene where the lady used the hyperspace jump to take out a whole fleet was pretty sick, though. Was that in?
No, that was awful. That
Oh,
ruined all logic in Star Wars battles. Because why wouldn't they just always do that? Why wouldn't they
right.
just have droids or make droids out of the ships?
No, this is why they never did it. Is because it took this lady to figure it out. It's because it was a lady, right? That's why. Because it never occurred to the guys. It's because the women. Because she was a lady and she did it. That's why. I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know. But cost was deemed too high, so they. Oh, okay. I did not know that. There's so much wrong with this picture.
Yeah.
It ignores Star Wars physics. Okay. She wore a gown in battle. The Asian woman wore a jumpsuit. Hyperspace was ruined by the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not going to give you pushback on that. I've never seen the whole thing, but I know that I wouldn't. You know, some people say that, well, you shouldn't comment on a movie unless you've seen it, but there are some movies that I know how they go, and I know I wouldn't like it. So I comment on movies I haven't seen if I know that it's something that I wouldn't like, especially if I've already read the story and I know how the story goes. I don't feel like I need to suffer through 2 hours of it to confirm something that I already knew to begin with. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see. Are we on number 4 now?
Yeah, I just hit number 4.
Okay. All right. So this one, Romeo and Juliet. Now, part of this is because, come here, Chibi. Part of this is because I just don't like Shakespeare. Okay? So I hate this story. And people really love this story. And they really like the remake, like with Leonardo DiCaprio. I never was interested to watch it because it's Romeo and Juliet. And the whole story to me is freaking stupid. Probably because I just hate Shakespeare. But just the story itself is dumb. These stupid kids, these dumb kids. And then they're so quick to kill themselves because they think the other person's. The whole setup is not really very romantic to me. And yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. I just don't like it, mostly because I hate Shakespeare. But I know a lot of people really liked it. Maybe because of Olivia Hussey. I don't know.
I've never seen it.
We had to watch it in high school. Come on, Chip. We had to watch it in high school, and it's a little disturbing actually when you realize when you think about how young she was when they filmed this movie, and that nude scene that she filmed. She was like 15 or 16 when they made it, and she says now, and I thought there was like some sort of lawsuit going on, but or had gone on. She says that she did not know that they were going to film the nude scene part, or that she didn't know it was going to be released. And it's not even something, I don't even think it's super, like she jumps out of bed and you see her chest or whatever. That's the only thing I remember about it. But just knowing how young she was when they filmed that, makes it super disturbing to me. On top of the fact that I just don't like the story. So I don't like this movie. Even though a lot of people, I mean, it's like on up there, one of the best 100 movies ever, or whatever. I found it in some lists because I was going through lists to refresh my memory about different things when I felt like I didn't have enough. And I just went through this list and then filled out the rest. And this one was on there, and it reminded me how much I disliked it.
One
So
thing that really messed me up was Jennifer Connelly in Once Upon a Time in America.
I never saw that movie, but what was it? What happened in there?
There was a scene. There were kids, and there was like one of them was like peeping through I think it was shit. What's it called?
A peephole?
The keyhole
Okay.
at her, and she was getting changed, and you saw a bit of her naked, but she was like 12. Problem is, I watched this when I was like 21 or so, and I'd had a crush on her since Labyrinth,
Oh yeah.
and she's older than me, but yeah, it was really confusing. I was like, I don't know how to feel about this.
So let me ask you a question. Did she really film that? Like,
I
do you
think so,
really
yeah.
see like that it's really her doing this nude scene as a 12-year-old?
Hmm.
So there was this movie that Jodie Foster was in with Martin Sheen. I think it was from like the 70s. And she plays a girl who's living by herself, and she's, I don't know, like 13 or 14. And there is a scene where she gets into the bed and she's naked, and you see her naked.
Hmm.
And I heard a behind the scenes commentary on that somewhere. I heard that it really wasn't Jodie Foster, it was her sister, who was not a minor at the time and filmed
Gotcha.
that scene. So that's why I was wondering if they had done. I mean, well, Olivia Hussey, she was a minor and they filmed this scene. This was back in the 60s, so I don't know if they've had laws since then. Or like if they did some sort of body double thing with Jennifer Connelly, or if it really was
Hmm.
her. It looked like a movie I was never interested in, so I didn't watch it.
Well, it's a mob movie, so
Yes. That's why it looked like a movie I wasn't interested in. The Darth Plato has another one to add to his list of films he doesn't like. Dune 2. The thing is, there's a lot of big fans of the book who have some issues with the second movie. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like Dune 2, it does have high audience and high critical reviews. But there's I never read the books, but after hearing some of the complaints fans of the books had, I see their point. But Simon, you've read the books, right? You don't.
of
You love Dune 2.
yeah. I think you have to make certain sacrifices when adapting or when changing mediums.
Yeah.
And pacing is a big part of it, which isn't such a thing in the books because you read a book at your own pace. But when you change the movie, then yeah, you have to sort of make decisions and mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't really have skin in the game as far as appreciation for the story. So I went with it. But I think probably one of the biggest things that I understand that people had an issue with was the change to Cheney, to her whole storyline. But
Yeah.
they're going to make a third one. I'll still go see it.
Yep, it's been confirmed.
Yeah.
You're making the Messiah.
I thought it was not long after the second one came out. Now, this is why you're not invited to Hollywood Illuminati. I don't even remember what it was I said now that prompted that comment. I'm assuming this is Romeo and Juliet. I mean, if you love Shakespeare, you might really love this, but I hate Shakespeare, so Hot Fuzz had the best depiction of Romeo and Juliet. I saw Hot Fuzz, and I don't remember what was the depiction of Romeo and Juliet. Setting for Romeo and Juliet is interesting to me. That's an interesting time in Italian history. Alan, I don't know. She I don't know. Some parents, they don't care. Maybe she was out on her own by then. I don't know much about her, like her backstory or anything. Isn't Uncle Monty and Withnail and based on what? Isn't Uncle Monty based on Zeffirelli? I don't know what that's. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Sorry. The Dune movies are overrated. Well, I feel like a lot of fans of the books appreciate them for the most part, though some do have some issues with them. Oh, everything I said? Okay. All right. Your next one, Simon.
All right. Next one is Harry Potter.
Oh, really? The
I've
first one or all of them?
all of them. I've never seen them, but I
Oh,
fucking hate
okay.
them.
Okay, Simon, now look. Look. That's
What?
unfair.
It's not fair. You said you can hate a movie and not have seen it.
So you just so what is it that you know you don't like about it? It's just like wizardry stuff you don't like?
I just hated it. Was a phenomenon that
Because it was so popular.
people were reading, but it was like this fucking kids book. They're just like,
Well,
no.
okay. So it did start out. So, okay. I love the Harry Potter books and the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching the movies before I started reading the books. So I watched the first 3 movies. By the third movie, I felt like it was getting really, like the first 2 were okay, but they were kind of kidsy. They were a bit, but it was setting the stage and it was setting the world, and the book started off that way too. And then as the story went on, it got darker and darker as the kids got older. It got pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
And by the third movie, you could see those darker elements were starting to take root a bit more.
I think I saw half of the third one on a plane, but I'm not sure.
That was the one that involved werewolves. And I think, is that the one when you first see Sirius Black?
Can't remember.
Because he breaks out of Azkaban or something like that. I enjoyed by the third movie, I was like, okay, I like this. It's actually pretty good. And then I started listening to the books. I listened to the books. And Jim Dale, the narrator of those books, was so freaking amazing that I started to get really, really into the storyline, and I really love them, and I enjoy the movies as well. My daughter has never been interested to watch them, so she would probably completely agree with your choice here. But the films do get darker. They don't stay kidsy and silly like from the third movie and on. The tone is definitely more serious because by the fourth movie, there's a kid at the school that gets killed because of stuff that's happening, and then by the fifth, it's just like it just gets incrementally harsher on the characters because and she wrote it that way on purpose to kind of like model or sort of follow along with, as you age, things get darker and more serious and scarier.
Yeah.
You're younger, you're innocent, it's all fun. And I mean, if you're not into wizardry stuff, I guess I can get it. But that's interesting. I was not expecting to see this one up here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single. Yeah, I know. Some people just aren't into that. Okay. But I enjoyed them. I wouldn't mind. They came back to the big screen. And I didn't. The very first one that I saw on the big screen was the fourth one. And I remember I had just read the fourth book. I had just finished listening to the fourth book. And this was in 2005. And my brother came in. One of my brothers came in from California, Tim. And he was finishing the book as he was landing, as his plane landed. And I was going to pick him up. And we were going to go see this fourth movie because the next day I had to go out to California because my other brother, Matt, he was in the hospital with pneumonia. So I had just one night with my brother, Tim. And I remember the fourth movie was a little disappointing because the story was fresh. And they left out things that I was expecting were going to be in there. But, yeah, from the fourth movie and onward, those were ones I did see on the big screen, but I haven't seen the first 3. And they have been back on the big screen lately, but I don't think I'm going to be able to go see them. Okay, Sashi says there was a Shakespeare performance reimagined in Hot Fuzz with the guy who was decapitated and the girl with the annoying laugh. She shoots herself in the Okay, I totally forgot about that. Fourth movie and book are the worst. Um, yeah, the fourth movie. Now I don't dislike it as much as I did when I first saw it, but I remember it was a bit disappointing. I didn't hate Potter, but I didn't feel it either. Okay. I hear Hermione was a self-insert. Um, I'm not sure. What do you mean? A
Wish
self-insert
fulfillment.
on the
It
part
was,
of J.K. Rowling?
yeah, wanting to be Hermione
Oh, I see.
in
Okay,
the
I
covenant.
hadn't heard that. In fifth grade, this teacher used to read us Harry Potter for like 30 minutes. I wish I can go back in time and boo her off the podium. Honestly, I would have loved to have had a teacher read Harry Potter to me in school instead of some of the crap we had to read. Hogwarts should be shut down with all the instances of child endangerment. I know there's definitely a lot of child endangerment going on. There's nothing thrilling about a kid waving a twig about. I think you got some agreement here. It's okay, Enigma. We're still going. You can if you're curious to find out the other movies we talked about before this, you can catch it on the replay. But yeah, it's just Simon and me today, so we had more than originally. This was just going to be 3, but I think we're doing like 6 now. Harry Potter was okay. Then again, the world was subjected to Emma. Oh my gosh! All right. Okay, so this next one, I'm just going to pop it up just to show, yes, I did have it on my list, but we've already talked about that extensively. So this particular time slot of mine is not going to have much more time dedicated to The Godfather because we've already gone over this. So it's going to be already back to you, Simon.
I don't have any other movies.
Okay. All right. Well, I have one more. Okay, then I guess I miscounted. Cuz here's my next one. It's actually 2 movies, and I'll tell you why it's 2 movies. It's because the theme of these movies is pretty much the same. Have you seen these, Simon?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Sleepless in Seattle is pretty much a mirror of You've Got Mail. The setup of these 2 people, well, in Sleepless in Seattle, she just hears him on the radio and she falls in love with him instantly and decides to go cross country to find out where he is. Which, number one, that was just weird and stupid. But number 2, she was engaged to be married. And we're supposed to buy into this love story. And You've Got Mail, she was hooked up with some guy. I can't remember if she was engaged with him too. And she falls in love with Tom Hanks through their mail correspondence. Very similar sort of setup. And we're supposed to buy into this
Was it Bill Pullman?
romance. What's that?
Was it
Yes,
Bill
it was.
Pullman?
It was Bill Pullman. Yes. And I just could not identify with this at all because I'm sitting there thinking,
Greg Kinnear.
Greg Kinnear was in You've Got Mail, but I think Bill Pullman was Sleepless in Seattle.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I just had a problem with this whole thing. Like I couldn't, I just couldn't go with the flow of this love story between these people because she was already with somebody and we're supposed to cheer for her when she hooks up with it. I just didn't work for me. And
Hashtag Meg Ryan's a slut.
Yes.
Physically.
In these stories, she is not a faithful girlfriend / fiance. So I couldn't with that. So I've seen both of these. They're not necessarily poorly made, but the story, like I said in the very beginning, these movies that we've picked aren't necessarily poorly made movies. Well, like obviously Star Wars was, the storyline is poorly made. Like maybe they're technically fine, maybe the acting is okay, but there's something fundamentally about the story that just does not sit well with me. And so that's pretty much the reasoning for all of my picks.
The release date of You've Got Mail is kind of freaking me out. It seems so recent for that to be so novel.
It was way back, like I think they played like the Cranberries song in there. one of the Cranberries songs in there. That was one of the earliest times I heard that song, I think.
Dreams movie.
During You've Got Mail, I thought.
Yeah.
I forgot what year this came out. Was it late 90s, early 00s?
Well, it says there 12/18/98. So the
Wait, wait.
very end of 98.
98 was You've Got Mail. And
Yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle was, when was that? Was that 94, 92?
94, 95, I think.
Okay. Yeah, they came out pretty close together, and they were almost identical as far as the
Or
setup.
93.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Garfunkel couldn't make it. No, he couldn't. I'm assuming you're talking about Colin.
It's not that he couldn't make it. He chickened out. He got fucking stuckmanized. He was afraid to talk or say bad things about other movies.
Stuckmanized. Yeah, so he felt like he wouldn't have anything to contribute. So he bowed out. I told him he was welcome to come on here and just add commentary, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it was, because there's certain movies that he doesn't like, so I'm sure he could have picked some. But he just, I don't know. I guess the theme just wasn't something he felt like he could connect to. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. Squidly, what? Oh, I think that's a reference to Harry Potter. I don't think it's the movies you just don't like. I'm telling you, he's not my favorite actor. I don't inherently dislike him. I'm just not super, I'm not super impressed by him. He's okay.
So going back, if you remember You've Got Mail and how simplistic the internet was and how simplistic our relationship to the internet was, how novel. And that was right at the end of 98. And then in the summer of 99, The Matrix came out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Just the next year.
Yeah. I was totally into computers. I got my first PC in 95, 96 or something like that. So I find You Got Mail kind of cringe, but just thinking, looking back at the sort of general view of the internet, the Matrix must have blown people's fucking minds.
Well, it did. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
When it came out. I remember my brothers went to go see. I think that was the first movie they went to go see on the big screen. I did not see it on the big screen. I kind of wish I had, but it was quite revolutionary at the time. Yeah. Yep. He was fine in Bridge of Spies. I saw that with Arturo a year or so ago, maybe. The 90s Tom Hanks romance movies. Yeah. Yes. Well, I feel like most romance movies are kind of cringe. It generally, for me, it doesn't always work. I hate Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and The Godfather, all because the wealth of detail that cinema precludes. Okay. I don't like The Godfather either. Weren't these movies from... No, I don't think they were. I don't think they were. So would Sin say that Twilight was a better... Oh, gosh. No, I hate Twilight, too. That's the thing. I'd just say... Just stay away from love stories. That's what I would say. Greyhound is a great Hanks movie. Okay, I never watched that movie. I was a little bit-ish interested in it, but I never checked it out. It's probably something Arturo would like. Most of the guys the girls leave are just normal guys getting jilted. Yeah, there would... the worst thing about what's-his-face, Bill Pullman in Sleepless in Seattle was that he had terrible allergies and it bothered her sleeping because he was had a machine on or whatever. I don't know. Just neither of these guys were bad guys. They weren't mistreating her. She just was bored. She wanted something more exciting. Okay.
But in fairness, it freed him up to meet Sandra Bullock.
Well, that's true.
While you were sleeping,
Right. And the reason that one's okay to me, that story is okay to me, even though I'm not hugely crazy about Sandra Bullock, was because she really wasn't involved with that guy that was in the coma. She liked him, but she wasn't, you know what I mean? So that one to me is a better story. Goldfinger and View to a Kill were almost identical as well. I forget the details of View to a Kill. And then J-Lo, oh my gosh, J-Lo. She started making romance movies to herself about herself. That documentary I've heard. Never Say Never Again, Thunderball. Okay. It's been a bit since I've seen some James Bond films. I have begun a deep dive movie. See, you begun a deep dive What, like a channel? Because I suggested that you should. You really went deep diving into Boy Kills World, and I don't necessarily agree with the assessment about the whole thing about the reveal of the fingers and all that, but you are really good about drilling down into the substance of a story. So I suggested that Enigma start a channel and do deep dive video essays on films. You haven't seen with Nail and I?
With Nail and I is, it's a very particular movie. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. That's it.
What's it about?
It's about two basically junkies. It's God, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. I have to Google it. He was old Loki. Richard E. Grant. Two out-of-job actors travel to the English countryside to spend a weekend with their uncle, but they soon end up getting into trouble, or getting into enough trouble to put them off the idea of ever visiting the area again.
So is it like a comedy or?
It's a comedy, yeah.
Okay. But they're junkies, but it's not a drug movie.
They're not junkies, but they're kind of, it's urbanized visit the country kind of thing.
So did you like it?
Not really.
No?
Really, I think. No.
Okay.
But I know a lot of people who love it.
I'm just wondering if it's worth taking a chance on, or if I'll end up hating it.
I'm not sure.
I was going to say, you probably know enough about my likes and dislikes. Maybe you could tell me whether
I'm leaning towards hating, but it's such a hard movie to tell because like people I don't expect it to like it. So
okay, that's fair. That makes sense. Stop the screen. That's very true. It is always somewhat shown that the guy there would just don't deeply understand the woman like the other guy. Yeah. So yeah, those are that's everything I've got. I think we've run through them all. We filled up quite a bit of time talking about these films. It's a comedy about prison? Really? I don't know. Maybe. I'll write it down, but I don't know that I'll actually. I'll just write it down just so I remember it.
What are we writing down?
With Nell and I.
Oh. Shall we watch the trailer?
Okay. I'll get copyright struck. Oh, okay. What year did this come out?
87.
Oh, it's okay. Is it any actors that I recognize?
Is there sound? Can you hear the sound or?
I can't hear much. No, I can't. I don't think I can. Like I can hear it probably through your microphone.
Oh.
I think you have to share, like specifically share the audio. There's like this extra thing you have to click.
I have to share a tab. So I'm gonna have to use a different browser.
Oh, Matrix is one you don't like? Okay. I don't feel like the special effects in Matrix held up all that great.
13 million Londoners have to wake up to this.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
And murder and Albrian and rape. And I'm sitting in this bloody shack and I can't cope with them. I must be out of my mind. I must go home at once and discuss his problems in depth.
Can't get rid of that.
I think we've been in here too long. I feel unusual. I think we should go outside. What soup? Why didn't I get any soup?
Coffee.
Why don't you use a cup like any other human being?
Why don't you wash up occasionally like any other human being?
We are indeed drifting into the arena of the unwell, making an enemy of our own future.
I'll go use it anyway. I don't want it.
Then stick it in a soap tray and save it for later.
Balls. We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now.
I called him a Ponce. And now I'm calling you one. Ponce!
This is a device enabling the drunken driver to operate in absolute safety.
My boys, we're at the end of an age, and here we are, we three, perhaps the last island of beauty in the world.
Please stop! We've gone on holiday by mistake.
What do you want?
I'm a friend of Montague Wizard's.
Bitch hung up on me.
This definitely looks really quirky.
I can make it die.
Okay. What? Where'd you go? Simon left the studio. Simon? I didn't kick you out. What did you do? You left the studio.
Try to stop sharing. And
I was just saying this looks a little bit too, I don't know, looks a little bit too quirky.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't feel like a strong interest in that particular one.
Yeah.
Does anyone else feel the ADHD hangover when you watch older movies and it takes a little longer to develop the story and you have to somewhat force your brain before you can get hooked? It depends.
We experienced that when we watched Army of Darkness.
Oh. No,
People who'd seen it before enjoyed it, but people who hadn't just couldn't like get into it.
That's the one we had the watch party of, right?
Yeah.
Well, my issue with that wasn't the story taking longer to develop. I just didn't like the story. I know. It just didn't click with me. I'm generally okay with a slow burn and taking a bit to develop a story. That's like that. What you're talking about is kind of ties into what I mentioned when I said my daughter felt like Halloween was boring because nothing was really happening because it wasn't nonstop stuff going on.
Yeah. The thing is, Army of Darkness isn't about stories, it's about jokes.
And those jokes didn't land with me. I was just like, it was fun hanging with you guys, but I was ready for this story to be over. It just didn't work.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately, I know a lot of people really love those. They love those movies, and especially that one. 20 Minutes to Last. Okay. I watched the first Twilight movie thinking that it was going to be better than the book, at least. I got angry when I read the book. I felt like I'd been duped by a cool cover, and the book was terrible. My brother and I both read the book at the same time, or listened to it. And I thought for sure the movie would be better, and it wasn't. And then the second movie comes along, and I decided I wasn't going to read the books. Maybe I'd watch the movie. And it took me months to finish the second movie because I could only take about 5 or 10 minutes at a time because the acting was so cringe. And I got so tired of Kristen Stewart with her batting eyelids. I couldn't stand it. I could not. Oh my goodness. It was just so terrible. And then I decided I was done. I wasn't going to watch any more of it, and I'm glad I didn't. So.
I tried to watch all movies, even if they don't really interest me. And with Twilight being such a phenomenon, figured I had to watch it.
But you won't watch Harry Potter?
It's the only movie I've ever fallen asleep watching twice.
Okay, you watched it twice, or you fell asleep twice?
I fell asleep. I watched it twice, fell asleep twice.
Oh, you fell asleep both times?
Yeah, could not make it through it.
Which one was it?
The first one.
The first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're bad. The books were so well, the first one. I never read the others, but and that's another one. That's another. Well, I couldn't pick the Twilight movies on here because they're not really universally loved. I don't feel like so. But yeah, I hate the whole thing. Salad fingers. I've never seen that. Sorry, trying to catch up. Some movie viewings should be like Twilight Pearl. I didn't mind Pearl Harbor too much. One of my more recent guilty pleasure movies is The Lobster from 2015. I was getting that confused with Tusk. I have not seen The Lobster.
The Lobster's a Yorgos Lanthimos movie.
Oh, okay. I feel like I wouldn't like it because I could tell by Poor Things I wouldn't like Poor Things. So I never watched.
Think I like Poor Things, but I think it overstayed its welcome. Like, despite Emma Stone being naked half or most of it, I just got bored.
Really? I was never interested from the time I saw the trailer, and then when I read how the story went and how it was all centered around basically her sexual pleasure, and people were messing with her, and she was a mind of a child in the body of an adult. That just not. No. So, and I like Emma Stone. She's fine. But no, I hard pass on that film. Harry Potter books are the few books I did read and liked alongside The Lost World by Conan Doyle. Yeah, the Harry Potter books were really, I think Jim Dale totally made those audiobooks. His performance in there was fantastic. And I tried to listen to the Stephen Fry version because they had Jim Dale do the American and they had Stephen Fry do the British. Because I guess, there were some words that were different in the books or whatever. And I tried listening to Stephen Fry, and to me, his performance paled in comparison to Jim Dale. So I never listened to that series or to that particular version. Forever Night.
Oh, and the reason
Sorry, go ahead.
The reason I didn't watch Harry Potter was because when Harry Potter was released, it was a kids' movie. And by the time it became a phenomenon, it was like the second or third movie. And by then I just had contempt for it.
Because so many people loved it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing as like disliking something intensely because everybody else seems to love it so much.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Actually, I'll share something with you. Go ahead. And I'll look
I was just going to say, I have seen some episodes of Forever Night. He was a vampire, I believe. I enjoyed it, but it's been a while since I've seen it. I don't know how well it aged. Poor Things, not sure how I feel about it. Yeah. Why do people fancy Bella Swan in Twilight? Such a boring and miserable individual. I know, like, what Ed just glommed onto her like she was the greatest thing ever. Harry Potter books have a massive amount of detail toward the story, so I do have a small despise towards some things in the movie. Okay. No, I won't mock you. I won't mock you for that. I actually liked it because it was a kid's movie. Well, Simon, if you ever do end up checking them out, if you ever decide to take a chance on them, I'd be curious to see if your dislike for them after actually having seen them is the same. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is not a good copy, but it's the only one I could find.
Okay.
I want a woman who can sit me down, shut me up, tell me 10 things I don't already know, and make me laugh. I don't care what you look like. Just turn me on. And if you can do that, I will follow you on bloody stumps through the snow. I will nibble your mucklucks with my own teeth. I will do your windows. I will care about your feelings. Just have something in there. I want one of them readers. That's what I want. I want a reader. And so you go out with a girl and you're driving. So what are you reading right now? And all too often, well, I'm not much of a reader. I'm not much of a dinner buyer. Get out, get out, get out, get out. But we're lost in the stucco sprawl of LA. I don't care. But every once in a while, you meet the one who reads. So what are you reading? He asked. The date killer question. So what are you reading? Well, I'm in the middle of a book right now. Oh my God, she's in the middle of a book.
Is it Twilight?
Oh, my beating heart. So what are you reading? He asked expectantly. Nerves tingling, body a quiver. Well, I'm in the middle of this Harry Potter. My car, get the fuck out!
Oh, poor Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Okay, see you, Carl. Yeah, well, but maybe she likes to read other books too. I thought he was going to say, first I thought he was going to say Twilight, then I thought he was going to say 50 Shades of Grey.
No, Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Well, maybe she was reading the 7th book. That was pretty dark. The 7th book. The 5th, 6th, and 7th book. The 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th books were pretty dark.
Was Harry Potter in the unisex bathroom?
Oh, which one was that? That's the one where they went in the bathroom and Hermione was trying to change. That might have been the 4th movie.
That was a joke.
Oh, well, you said unisex. I think they just went into I don't think it was the unisex bathroom, but I thought that's what you meant because they went in there and Hermione was in there and she had like taken a potion and she was, I don't know, whatever. It wasn't working right. What about Hunger Games? Considering, no, we didn't. I actually like those. I like the books. I really, really like the books. I enjoyed the movies, but they're not as easy to tolerate now just because Jennifer Lawrence has worn a bit thin on me. But I felt like the movies were decent adaptations of the books. Now,
something funny about Jennifer Lawrence. What? Apparently she beat Google because after the fappening, if you remember what that was.
Was that the one about the video or something of her?
It was all these celebrities got
they got
basically
hacked.
A hacker hacked into everyone's phones and
right.
got nude photos of them, and Jennifer Lawrence was by far the worst. So what she did was in every interview she started talking about people being assholes. So every time you would Google Jennifer Lawrence asshole, you would get a link to that interview rather than a picture of her asshole.
Oh gosh. That was a few years back. I vaguely remember that. I never actually saw the video that had been taken off her phone or whatever the heck it was, but yeah.
I thought that was clever.
The Hunger Games was really the only. I think that's the only book. The first Hunger Games book was the only book I read twice. And that was because the second time I read it, I read the Spanish version of it because I wanted to see if I could do it. And I did. And that was the only reason why. Hunger Games. Yeah, right. I saw a video of her saying that. Some people tried to say that she didn't really say it that way, but I saw the video. She did actually say it that way. And it just... I don't know what her intent was, but it didn't come out right. The way... Yeah, it didn't. That was kind of silly. Seemed to intentionally slight PETA from the actual character portrayed in the books. I don't know. It's been years since I've read the books, but I felt like at the time it was a good adaptation, a decent adaptation. Wonder where they got the pictures. From her phone? That's what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. I was reading the story about her tricking Google. Apparently, she was dating. God, what's his name? He was in Fury Road. He was also the Beast in X-Men.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
That guy. She was dating that guy, and apparently they were on different sets, so she sent them nudes, and that's
okay.
Why there's so much of it out there.
Oh, okay, that's why they would be on her phone, of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. That's gonna bug me now. His name. I want to say there's a name I want to say, but I know it's not that.
Holt?
It's a guy.
Something Holt.
Nicholas Holt.
Nicholas
Yes,
Holt.
Holt. I was wanting to use a different name, and that's actually someone that works with us at Soundbooth Theater. So I was like, no, that's not right. I know that's not right.
I was thinking Christopher Holt, but yeah,
No, Nicholas Holt. He played in Warm Bodies, and he was in Renfield.
Yeah.
Divergent. I read those books. I like the books. And I like the first movie. I thought I liked the second movie, but then after that, it felt like it kind of went a little bit off the rails, and they never even ended up finishing the last movie. They were supposed to do 2 last movies, and they did one of them, and then I don't think they ever got the other one finished. A poor man's Hunger Game.
I just did all YA stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Some of it works for me.
Just can't
But
get
not
into it at all.
Yeah, well, I get that. No, not that one. Okay, I guess we're done running through our list of movies. So
Japan at the time. What were the other shows you were watching?
So I'm watching. I'm trying to finish up The Boys because I would like to be done in time for the next season. But you said you feel like I have time to watch Gen V.
Yeah.
I
mean,
maybe,
it's
probably.
You got just like this 5 weeks you've got, so
Okay, because it's mid-June and we're just into early May.
yeah.
So I'm watching The Boys, and then I guess I've got 3 episodes left of The Boys season 3, and I'm also watching Three Body Problem. I'm trying to finish that up. I recently finished up True Detective, The Night Country, and I've got a review for that maybe going up tomorrow or the next day, depending on if I can get it finished. And I'm also watching Deadlock, Loch, Deadloch.
Yeah, I thought you'd misspelled that when you sent it.
No, I heard about that movie because I was watching a review of True Detective Night Country, and someone brought up Deadlock as a comparison. And so I thought, well, I'll check it out. But I have some issues with Night Country, but I'm having even more issues with Deadlock. And it's mostly because the characters are so freaking annoying.
Well, they're Australian, so.
Well, that's not why they're annoying. Have you seen Deadlock?
No.
They're too
I do find the Australian accent to be very, very annoying.
Well, I like the Australian accent, but then I like a lot of accents that aren't American.
Well, there's certain Australian accent. I don't like it's called Australian question intonation. And
the way they sound like they're always asking a question?
Yes, everything's like a question. So
yeah.
It's when they do this that I can't stand.
I love
but like
it.
Hulk Hogan, they're not Hulk Hogan.
What?
Fuck, what's the other one? Hogan.
Paul Hogan.
Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
I don't mind him, because he talks like just a regular fucking Australian.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's when they do this. So what do you think it did look?
Is that a specific dialect to a certain region? Or is it just some Australians talk like that?
I think it's just some Australians talk like that.
Okay. Well, they do have a lot of that going on in this show. That's
They
not
do?
why they do. Yes, they do. The characters, like the premise of the story is interesting. It's about this cop and she's working on this murder mystery. But the main character's fine. It's all the surrounding characters. They are way, 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 way too over the top. I'm going to use that word I used earlier. They're like a caricature. And there's a big overrepresentation of a certain demographic for sure. And I don't know if it's just because this location just is supposed to statistically have more of these people. But there's like, seems like most of the people in here are as overrepresented, but that's not the issue. The issue is they are ridiculous. Like, it's too much. It's comedic, but it's too annoying to be funny. Like, there's this other detective that comes in on the scene, and she is just she's lewd and crude and over the top, and she doesn't act like a professional, like a detective at all. No regard for like the scene just they're in an autopsy and she's eating over the body. I mean, it's just like it's too much. So I have a feeling that despite all of the issues with Night Country, I'm gonna like that more than Deadlock. The only normal character in this series is the main character. She's the only one that's normal. Everyone around her is like really idiotic acting and over the top stupid. It's just I don't know. I'm not feeling it, and it's actually getting really annoying. And my list of cons is growing. So yeah, that's the shows I'm watching now, and I'm actually trying to methodically go through all of them because I am trying to catch up. And then at some point, yes, I want to get back to Cobra Kai.
Well, Three Body Problem, it was just kind of a meh for me.
Yeah, I'm not
You
really.
feel it?
I'm
How
not,
far are you through it?
I've gotten to the point where I think maybe I'm 3 episodes in. Or maybe it's 4. It's the point where Sam's character from Game of Thrones, you know that actor?
Mm-hmm.
Where he gets, the lady pays him a visit at the end of the episode, and
Yeah.
because he wanted to back out of stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. It's okay.
Episode 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, like it's at the end of 3 or the end of 4. I can't remember now, but the episodes are long. I remember Chris Gore and I were talking about it when I was out in California, and he really loved it because he was talking about how the slow build up, and I think I'm still in that slow build up part of it. Not that I mind slow build up, but just I don't feel like I'm connecting with the storyline completely to the point that I'm really super loving it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm going to go see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And next week I'm going to see If. And I'm also going to see The Strangers Chapter 1.
If is the one with the
with
imaginary
Ryan
friend?
Reynolds. Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds. Just because just check it out. And what else? There was something else that's not coming to me.
Oh, was this the one you want? I'm going to share.
Oh, yes,
This-
Violent, sorry. Fallout. I want to see Fallout 2.
Yeah, it's very good.
I've heard Chuck is good as well. I've heard Fallout
Shogun
is really good.
is also excellent. I think you'd really like
Shogun,
Shogun.
that's another one. Yes, that's the one where I decided when I watch an episode of Shogun, I'm going to go check out the podcast somebody told me where all the cultural stuff is explained so that I'll understand a bit more what I'm watching, because I've heard for some people it's a bit of an issue because they don't really understand certain like connotations, what things mean because of the cultural stuff.
Yeah.
What were you getting ready to show me?
I was wondering if this is the one you watched. Because I did watch this, but it didn't.
Oh, sorry.
You said they didn't have guns, which isn't a thing here. Do you have guns?
I thought it was the first episode of Blue Lights that I saw, and they went to this neighborhood.
How do you feel it's going?
I think this was
Not very well.
because I started watching it the day you told me about it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How was your day?
Oh, you know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Usual.
They were chasing. That was the first episode.
All right.
And they were
Well,
in
it is
this
extremely
neighborhood.
well reviewed here. So
I've heard good things about it. I watched, I think, the first episode or part of the first episode. And I remember there was a scene where they went to a neighborhood and these people came out and started harassing, and the cops had to end up just like fleeing because they didn't have any way to protect themselves.
yeah.
And I remember thinking, well, that's like, because I remember you saying something about how like the cops in here are represented as like, I can't remember the wording you used, but it was something like, how tough they are compared to like the cops from the US. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, but these cops come across as pansies because they can't even protect their own selves.
This is the new police service. This is the Northern Ireland Police Service. I'm talking about the RUC, the Royal Ulster Constabulary, the ones who were around during the Troubles.
Mm.
And yeah, despite the fact that they had to deal with not just guns, but like semi-automatic weapons and explosives and RPGs and all that kind of stuff, they were not as skittish and trigger happy as the US cops.
Yeah. What time frame does this take place in, though? This is modern times, right? Blue lights?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And
YouTubers
90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know that I would want to do that, Darth Vader.
I'll do it. YouTubers. See
how they run type mystery type thing. I love the lady. No, you know what? Actually, Enigma. I thought about see how they run when I was watching Deadlock, because the girl detective in there that's like the sidekick to Sam Rockwell, she's a little bit she's a little kind of ditzy. She's overly eager, and so it's a bit comedic, but no, it's like that amped up like by 10, because there is a character in Deadlock that reminds me a bit of that character and see how they run, but she's just it's way too much. It's too over the top, and it's just like it just does not work. But see how they run did, because she was adorable and it was well written, and she wasn't so ridiculous with the way she acted. So Cobra Kai should cross over with Mortal Kombat. Were you getting ready to say something, Simon?
No.
Okay.
I would say, chat, have you watched Cobra Kai? And if so, should Sin get back onto it? Because I think you only watched the first season.
I've only seen the first season.
Yeah.
And when is the last one coming out? This summer?
Yeah, this summer.
I don't know if I have time to finish it. Do you know when?
I'll check now.
Fallout stats 2770 goes forward to 7.
And what was the question about see how they run?
Oh,
July 18th.
So he was saying, is it a see how they run type mystery type? I mean, I assume that's what he's talking about. And then he said you answered the question.
I don't know.
Unless I'm sorry.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I thought his question pertained to Deadlock, but maybe I'm completely wrong. I might be wrong.
I don't know.
Shouted, "Don't move!" The suspect didn't move, but was shot anyway. I've seen. Okay, you said local show. I've seen this happening here too. Yeah, I saw a video where a guy was shot and he was just sitting down. We covered it, guys. It's okay. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Simon. You were going to look up when Cobra Kai was coming out?
July 18th. So, yeah.
And
that's what you got 4 seasons to watch?
With 10 episodes apiece. And each episode is about 30 minutes, so 5 hours each season.
Yep.
Maybe. I have a lot going on this year, you guys. Like work-wise, travel. I'm going out of town at the end of this month to a con. Then we have
Dragon Con, or
no, it's a con in it's called Con Carolinas. It's for Sound Booth Theater. I'm going to be there with Jeff, and I'm going to be there with Matt Dinneman, the author of Dungeon Crawler Carl. And it's just going to be us there. So it'll be man in the booth and everything. And then at the end of August, I have Dragon Con. And then in November, I have Vegas. And then in the meantime, I'll be traveling up to Jersey again in June to be with my brother for a week to help him with the kids while his ex is out of town. Then I'm going to a con here. Like, there's just a lot of stuff going on this year. So anyway, but I've got it on my calendar. I've actually, if you see my Google Calendar, you'll see I've got blocks off in the evening, and I've got the three shows I'm watching, and I'm just kind of cycling through them. So
cool.
I'm trying to get back on track. Work keeps me busy, but so does the channel too. I review movies, and editing keeps me busy. So
yeah. Well, I had a problem with my stream. That was one of my intentions with Twitch, was to do these roundtable discussions.
Oh yeah.
And because I was trying to bring all the streams in individually, it was making my router fuck up. but there's a find a
Oh,
way
your
around it.
router. Your router. I thought you
Yes,
said writer.
My router.
Your router. Okay.
My router. I made it go boo boo.
Okay. So it screwed up your router.
Screwed up my router. But I find a way around it, so I can host everyone at the same time. So now this is something we want to do for a long time, which is a discussion on story, just an open-ended discussion on story,
Right.
and
Yeah,
get
you
people
told
from
me about that.
multidisciplinaries. Like, I want to get Shane, the historian. You've met Shane.
Mm-hmm.
An author I know called L.L. McRae. He writes or self-publishes fantasy novels. An actor I know called Walt, a theater actor. I was wondering if you'd be a part of it, or do you think maybe anyone in Soundbooth Theater might be more
you had
suited
mentioned
toward
this.
it?
You had mentioned this to me. You had mentioned this to me before. I'm down for it. I don't know how much I can contribute to it.
Yeah.
But I'm down for. I'm always down for talking about stories. But sometimes the bigger the crowd, the quieter I get.
Yeah, same here.
You had mentioned maybe the possibility of Jeff. I could run it by him, but Jeff is even busier than me, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, this one's going to be like herding cats. Because people are from everywhere for this one.
It's hard to get. I know what you're talking about. It's hard to. I remember you were still working out the details when you had first mentioned it to me, and you had no idea when it was going to happen or anything like that.
Yeah.
So you still no closer?
No, it's I'm just starting up the Twitch stream again.
I saw that you had gone live on Twitch not long ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a regular Saturday thing going.
Okay. What time typically on Saturday do you?
I think it's 6 Eastern.
6, okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll try to pop in if I see that, because I do have notifications set. I do get notification when you go live. That's why when I was in Jersey, I was able to pop in and listen for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see? It's not just me.
It's because you say it's because you don't say fucking writer. You say fucking writer.
We say writer.
Writer.
But it was the way you said router. It sounded like, someone said writer. Yeah. I could do any kind of Latino voice if you want. Latino who can't speak English well, I'm good at that. Yeah, because you speak Spanish. You're like fluent in Spanish and everything. I'm jealous. Okay. I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else to add to this, you guys. Thank you so much for everyone who joined in the comments, and for people on Twitter who are watching, for people on Rumble. I know that you guys have checked in. If you made any comments, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. There was just a lot I was trying to pay attention to here, but I appreciate each and every one of you guys showing up, and we'll do another one hopefully in another month, probably early June. Because I'll be in town. I'll be back from the Sound Booth Theater thing I had to go to from the con. So don't know what the topic will be yet. Sorry, don't know what the topic will be yet. I don't know if we'll poll you guys and get you guys to pick the next one again or what. But keep in touch.
Next time we need to. I want all of you guys to give Colin a hard time.
Yeah, for not showing up. Shame on him. I don't know about that, Darth. I think Polly's pretty doggone cool. I like Polly a lot. He's a great guy. Thank you all. Yes, the next movie is on the 15th. Sound Booth Theater. I will also be streaming to my channel and to Twitter probably. And those 3 movies are, The Big Lebowski, Face Off, and Excalibur. So I've still got to finish those.
And when are those?
So that's Wednesday the 15th. I'll be on with Sound Booth Theater, because all of those movies are kind of tied in a bit with releases that we've got. So that's probably when my next I'm going to be on Council of Creators tomorrow on Chainsaw Reacts channel. And on Thursday, I'm going to be on Off the Cover. No, next Thursday. Sorry, next Thursday I'll be on Off the Cover. So got quite a few live stream appearances going on, and hopefully my review for True Detective Night Country will be up sometime this week, and also Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to do a review for that and hopefully get that up by Friday or Saturday. Cool. So that's just like your opinion. I know. That's just, but you forgot the word like. That's just like your opinion, man. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you later.
You tango que cagar.
No.